Virgo, listen to what just came through because this is satisfying. So satisfying. What's revealing itself for mid-May 2026 is someone coming back, someone who left, someone who walked away, someone who thought they could do better or didn't appreciate what they had or took you for granted, and they're coming back. But here's what's different this time. They're coming back correct, coming back with respect, coming back understanding that you are not someone to play with, not someone to take lightly, not someone they can just waltz back into your life with half-hearted effort and expect you to welcome them with open arms. And I need you to understand how significant this shift is. When they left, they were casual about it, maybe even arrogant. Maybe they thought you'd be there whenever they felt like coming back. Maybe they thought you needed them more than they needed you. Maybe they underestimated your worth and overestimated their options. Whatever their mindset was then, it's completely different now. They've learned. They've been humbled. They've discovered through hard experience that you are not replaceable, not forgettable, not someone they can disrespect and expect no consequences. So get ready, Virgo. Because what I'm about to walk you through is someone's complete transformation in how they approach you. Someone who used to take you for granted, showing up with reverence. Someone who used to be casual, showing up with intention. Someone who used to play games, showing up ready to be serious. This is the reading about how respect gets earned the hard way, how people learn your value by losing you, and how sometimes the universe makes them come back and prove they've learned before you even consider giving them access again. And you, Virgo, you're going to be in complete control of how this unfolds. Let me tell you what revealed itself first in your reading. The very first layer that came through, what's blazing across the realization frequencies is their wake-up call. The moment they understood they messed up. And this wasn't a gentle realization. This was a harsh, undeniable, hit them in the face wake-up call. They tried to replace you. They tried to find someone who gave them what you gave them. They tried to recreate what you had together with someone else, and it didn't work. Spectacularly didn't work. Every person they encountered after you fell short, nobody had your energy, nobody had your intelligence, nobody had your standards, nobody challenged them the way you did, nobody cared the way you did, nobody made them feel the way you did. And at first, they tried to convince themselves that was fine, that different was good, that they didn't need those things you provided. But the more time that passed, the more obvious it became that what you brought to their life was irreplaceable. I'm seeing specific comparisons happening in their mind. They're with someone new and that person does something, says something, acts some way, and their immediate thought is Virgo would never, or Virgo would have handled this better, or this doesn't compare to what I had. And those comparisons started eroding their satisfaction with whatever situation they thought was better than being with you, started making them realize that leaving you wasn't an upgrade. It was a massive downgrade. They were too blind to see at the time. And then something specific happened that made the realization complete. Maybe they saw you thriving without them. Maybe they heard through mutual connections how well you're doing. Maybe they ran into you and saw how good you look, how happy you seem, how completely fine you are without them. And that visual confirmation that you didn't need them, that you weren't sitting around heartbroken waiting for them to come back, that you genuinely moved on and moved up, that shattered any remaining illusion they had that they could come back whenever they wanted and you'd just be there. The second layer revealing itself is about the coming back correct energy specifically. What that means, what that looks like. And what's streaming through the approach frequencies is humility, real humility. They're not coming back with ego, not coming back with excuses, not coming back trying to minimize what they did or make it seem like the separation was mutual or no big deal. They're coming back owning their mistakes, acknowledging they messed up, admitting they took you for granted, recognizing they didn't appreciate what they had until it was gone. I'm seeing an actual apology forming. Not a, I'm sorry you felt that way, non-apology, but a real, accountable, specific apology. I'm sorry I left. I'm sorry I didn't appreciate you. I, I'm sorry I made you feel like you weren't enough when the truth is I wasn't enough for you. I'm sorry I wasted your time. I'm sorry I hurt you. They're taking full accountability, not splitting blame, not making excuses about timing or circumstances or their emotional state, just straight acknowledgement that they were wrong and you deserved better. And they're coming back with effort, real effort. They're not just sending a casual, hey, text, hoping you'll do the work of reconnecting. They're planning. They're thinking about how to approach you in a way that shows respect. They're considering what you might need to hear, what you might need to see demonstrated, what proof you might require that this time is different. They understand now that access to you is a privilege, not a right, and privileges have to be earned. They're also coming back understanding your worth. Not just saying they understand, actually understanding. They see now what they didn't see before. Your value, your rarity, your quality, the specific things about you that make you irreplaceable. And that understanding is showing up in how they talk about you, how they think about you, how they plan to approach you. They're not coming back casual. They're coming back reverent. Coming back like someone who's been given a second chance they know they don't deserve but are desperately hoping for anyway. The third layer coming through is about what made them realize you're not one to play with. The specific lesson they learned. And what's crystallizing in the consequence frequencies is that you didn't chase them, you didn't beg, you didn't make yourself smaller or more accommodating to try to win them back. When they left, you let them go. You held your standards, you maintained your dignity, you moved forward with your life. And that response, or lack of desperate response, taught them something crucial about who you are. They realized you meant what you said about your boundaries, about your standards, about what you will and won't accept. When you were together, you probably set boundaries, probably communicated needs, probably made clear what behavior was acceptable and what wasn't. And maybe they tested those boundaries. Maybe they thought you were just talking. Maybe they assumed you'd tolerate more than you said you would because most people do. But you didn't. When they crossed the line, you actually followed through. You actually walked away or let them walk away. And that follow through taught them you're serious. They also learned that your absence has consequences, real consequences. They thought they could leave and come back whenever they wanted. Thought you'd always be an option. Thought your love for them meant unconditional availability. But your absence from their life created a void they couldn't fill, created problems they didn't anticipate, made them realize that what you brought to their life wasn't just nice to have. It was essential, and losing access to that was a consequence they weren't prepared for. And they learned that you have options. That other people see your worth even if they were too blind to appreciate it fully. Maybe they've seen or heard about other people interested in you. Maybe they know you're not sitting home alone crying over them. Maybe they understand now that if they want another chance, they're competing not just against their own past mistakes, but against other people who are ready to treat you right from the start. And that competition is humbling, is making them understand they need to bring their absolute best if they want to be chosen. The fourth layer showing itself is about timing and the mid-May 2026 significance. Why then specifically, and what's radiating through the temporal frequencies is completion. By mid-May 2026, certain cycles will have completed, certain lessons will have been learned fully. Certain transformations will have occurred both in them and in you. The universe doesn't allow reconnections until both parties are actually ready for what that reconnection requires. And mid-May is when the readiness aligns. For them, mid-May is when they've been humbled enough, suffered enough consequences, learned enough lessons, grown enough to actually be different than they were when they left. The universe has been putting them through experiences designed to teach them your value, designed to show them what they lost, designed to humble their ego and open their heart. And by mid-May, that education will be complete enough that they can approach you from genuine transformation rather than temporary regret. For you, mid-May is when you've healed enough to consider them without desperation. You've processed the hurt, you've rebuilt your life, you've remembered your worth, you've possibly even explored other options, and from that healed place, you can evaluate their return objectively. You can decide whether you want to give them another chance based on who they are now and what they're offering, not based on loneliness or nostalgia or hope that they'll finally become who you wanted them to be. You can choose from power, not from need. And cosmically, mid-May 2026 has specific energetic alignments, astrological factors, universal timing, things that make reconciliation more supported if reconciliation is truly meant to happen. The universe creates windows, moments when the energy is right for certain things to occur. And mid-May is one of those windows for you and this person. Whether you walk through that window together is your choice, but the window will be open. The fifth layer revealing itself is about what you should do when they return, how to handle their correct approach, and what's pulsating through the empowerment frequencies is that you hold all the power here. You get to decide if their apology is accepted, if their effort is sufficient, if their transformation is real or just performance. If you even want to give them access to your life again, they're coming back correct, but correct doesn't automatically mean you have to say yes. First, observe their actions, not just their words. Anyone can craft a beautiful apology. Anyone can say they've changed. Anyone can promise to do better. What matters is whether their behavior backs up their words. Are they patient with your boundaries? Do they respect your pace? Do they demonstrate through consistent action that they've actually grown? Or is this just a performance designed to get back in your good graces so they can return to old patterns? Watch, pay attention, trust actions over promises. Second, don't rush into anything. Just because they're ready doesn't mean you have to be ready. Just because they've learned their lesson doesn't mean you owe them immediate forgiveness. Take your time. Let them prove themselves over weeks or months, not days. Real change is demonstrated through sustained behavior, not grand gestures. If they're genuinely different, they'll be patient. They'll understand they broke trust, and rebuilding that takes time. And if they're not patient, that's data, that's information that the transformation isn't as deep as they're claiming. Third, check in with yourself honestly about what you actually want. Do you want them back, or do you just want the validation of being chosen correctly this time? Because those are different things. It's satisfying to have someone come back, humbled and apologetic. It feels good to be pursued with respect after being taken for granted. But feeling good about being wanted isn't the same as actually wanting them. Make sure you're choosing them, not just enjoying the ego boost of being chosen. And fourth, maintain your standards regardless of their approach. Coming back correct is the baseline, not the achievement. That's the minimum requirement for you to even consider them. But consideration doesn't mean automatic acceptance. They still need to prove they can meet your actual needs, still need to demonstrate they're capable of the partnership you deserve, still need to show that whatever caused the separation won't happen again. Your standards don't lower just because someone finally learned to meet them. Your standards are your standards. They either meet them or they don't get access. Let me tell you what you need to understand, Virgo. The truths to carry into this situation. First, them coming back correct is their growth, not your obligation. They learned, they evolved, they realized their mistake. That's beautiful. That's growth. But their growth doesn't create your debt. You don't owe them a second chance just because they finally figured out what they should have known all along. Their lesson was learning your value. Your lesson is choosing yourself regardless of who finally sees that value. Second, you taught them how to treat you by how you responded when they didn't. Your boundaries, your standards, your refusal to chase or beg or lower yourself to keep them. That taught them you're serious. That taught them you mean what you say. That taught them you're not one to play with. And that teaching was valuable not just for them potentially getting another chance with you, but for whoever they're with next. If you choose not to take them back, you raised the standard, you taught the lesson. Whether you reap the benefits of that teaching is your choice. Third, mid-May is opportunity, not destiny. The universe is creating conditions for reconnection, but you still have free will. You can say no. You can say, I appreciate your growth, but I've moved on. You can say, too little, too late. You can say, I'm glad you learned, but I don't want to teach anymore. The timing being aligned doesn't mean you're required to participate. It just means if you choose to, the energy supports it, but the choice is entirely yours. And fourth, satisfaction of being right is sweet, but partnership is what matters. It feels good to have them come back humbled. Feels good to be proven right about your worth. Feels good to see them realize what they lost. Enjoy that feeling. You earned it. But don't let that satisfaction be the reason you take them back. Take them back only if they can actually be the partner you deserve. Only if the relationship can actually be healthy and fulfilling. Only if your future with them is genuinely better than your future without them. Satisfaction is momentary. Partnership is daily. Choose based on what serves your actual life, not just your ego. Here's what you need to do right now, Virgo. In preparation for mid-May, first, get clear on your standards for reconciliation. What would they need to demonstrate for you to even consider giving them another chance? What behaviors, what consistency, what proof of change? Write it down, get specific. So when they show up with their correct approach, you have criteria to evaluate them against instead of getting swept up in emotion. Second, heal completely before they return. Don't wait for their apology to feel better. Don't need their recognition of your worth to know your worth. Do the healing work now so that when May comes, you're evaluating their offer from wholeness, not from wounds seeking bandages. Healed you makes better decisions than hurt you. Be healed before the choice arrives. Third, live your life fully between now and then. Don't put your life on hold waiting for mid-May. Don't avoid other connections or opportunities because this person might be coming back. Live, date if you want to date, explore if you want to explore, build your life, thrive, be so genuinely happy with your life that their return is optional, not needed. That's the position of power you want to be in when they show up. And fourth, trust yourself to know what's right when the moment comes. You'll know. Your Virgo intuition combined with your analytical mind will know if their transformation is real. Will know if you actually want them back. Will know if giving them another chance serves you or just serves their redemption arc. Trust that knowing. Trust yourself to make the decision that honors you, and then make it confidently without second guessing. They're coming back correct, Virgo. Mid-May 2026, humbled, respectful, understanding finally that you are not one to play with, not someone to take lightly, not someone they can lose and easily replace. They've learned, they've grown, they've realized your value the hard way, and they're approaching you with the reverence you deserved all along. And that's satisfying. That's validating. That's proof that your standards were right, that your boundaries were necessary, that walking away or letting them walk away was the correct choice. You taught them, you held your ground, and now they're coming back having learned the lesson. But you still decide what happens next. You still choose whether their correct approach earns them a second chance. You still determine whether their growth is enough. You still control whether they get access to your life again. They can come back as correct as they want. You're still the gatekeeper. You're still the decision maker. You're still the one with power. Use it wisely. Choose yourself. And whatever you decide, make sure it serves the life you're building, not just the satisfaction of being proven right. Thank you for being here, Virgo. Your standards changed someone. Your boundaries taught someone. And they're coming back to prove they learned. What you do with that is your power. If this resonated, comment, coming back correct. Let the universe know you're ready to evaluate from power when May arrives. Like and subscribe for more Virgo guidance. And remember your worth between now and then. Goodbye for now.